Welcome to this explainer. Today we are diving into the absolutely fascinating tension between two totally opposing forces in chess. We really want to uncover what actually makes a champion. So whether you play the game casually on your phone, study it obsessively, or just, appreciate the sheer mental gymnastics required to master it, you've probably wondered what really separates the good players from the truly great ones. Well, today we're going to break down the ultimate balancing act of the human mind, played out right there on 64 squares. Okay, let's jump right into this with a question. And it's a question that gets straight to the heart of the game's romance versus its harsh reality. When you picture a brilliant chess master, what do you see? Do you see this wild artist painting a masterpiece on the board with crazy, imaginative strokes? Or do you see a cold, calculating human computer just crunching numbers and probabilities through pure logic? I mean, it's a debate that has literally raged in chess clubs for over a century. While this brilliant little synthesis really sets the stage for our entire journey today, it proves that the absolute strongest players, they actually need both. It's really not an either-or scenario. If you want to consistently grind out wins and climb the ranks, well, analytical logic is for sure your best friend. But if you want to etch your name into the history books, win world championships, and create games that people study for decades, you absolutely positively must have that creative spark. Section 1, the art of creativity and finding unusual moves. Let's start things off with the beautiful side of the board. So when people gasp at a brilliant move on the board, this right here is exactly the creative engine they are witnessing in action. Creative thinking is what allows a player to look at a totally standard, maybe even boring position and suddenly discover an unexpected defensive resource, or just pull a beautiful checkmate pattern right out of thin air. It's the ability to find unusual moves that break all the traditional rules, to set unexpected traps, and to play completely original chess. I mean, when someone sacrifices their most powerful piece, like literally giving up their queen, that is pure creativity, completely disrupting the status quo. And we can personify this sheer creativity through absolute legends like Mikhail Tal and Garry Kasparov. These are players who used these crazy surprise attacks to just completely overwhelm their opponents. Tal, in particular, was famous for tossing his pieces into the fire. He'd sacrifice valuable material just to create these wild, chaotic complications on the board. He wasn't playing the math, he was playing the man. He used artistry and initiative to create positions so complex that his opponents simply crumbled under the psychological pressure. It's like a magic trick. Section 2, the engine of analysis and calculating accuracy. Yes, the artistry is thrilling, but let's shift to the cold, calculating counterweight. Now, here is the real paradigm shift. Creativity sparks the wild ideas, right? But analysis is the grueling, hard work of calculating 10-move combinations and properly evaluating positions. While the artist is off dreaming up a trap, the analyst is systematically checking to see if that sacrifice actually works in the real world. Analytical thinking is what helps you avoid blunders, find the absolute best move in a sea of mediocre ones, and, this is absolutely crucial, find the single precise move required to survive when you are under a massive attack. It is the defensive shield, and it's the grinding gears of conversion. To see analysis in its purest, most terrifying form, look no further than former world champions Magnus Carlsen and Anatoly Karpov. These legends dominate, but not through wild traps or chaotic sacrifices. No, they win through terrifying accuracy. They have this incredibly deep positional understanding that allows them to slowly, methodically squeeze their opponents right off the board. They calculate with relentless precision, and they rarely, if ever, make a blunder. They really prove that a rock-solid analytical foundation is just an absolute nightmare to play against. Which brings us to Section 3, the biggest chess myth and the trap of misguided beginners. Okay, if you are sitting there with an ELO rating under 1500, this is probably your internal monologue. You are desperately searching for a Tal-like sacrifice to win the game. A lot of beginners, they watch these amazing highlight reels of Kasparov, and they think that to win, they literally need to pull a rabbit out of a hat. So they sit at the board agonizing over finding a brilliant move that's going to instantly win them the game in a massive flash of glory. But the harsh reality, beginners don't actually lose because they lack creativity. They lose because of painful, completely avoidable analytical failures. Games at the amateur level are lost by hanging pieces, making simple one-move blunders, missing totally basic tactics, and just generally poor calculation. I mean, think about it. You really don't need a brilliant attack if you are accidentally giving your rook away for absolutely nothing. So this completely flips the script on what you should probably be studying tonight. Think of it this way. If you pair up two beginners, one who plays wildly creative, imaginative chess, but makes calculation errors, against one who plays boring, standard moves, but calculates accurately and doesn't drop their pieces, well, the analytical player is going to win almost every single time. It's true. Most rating improvement for amateur players comes from simply making fewer blunders and just having better basic threat detection. Section 4, Climbing the ELO Ladder, your ELO roadmap. Let's map out exactly what you need to focus on as you level up. If we break down this roadmap, you can clearly see how you have to master simple threat detection at the 1,000 ELO mark way before you earn the right to play original, dynamic sacrifices up at 2,000. At the 1,000 level, your entire mindset should really be analysis-driven. Just check your threats, and whatever you do, don't hang pieces. Then, once you hit around 1,500, that's when you mix your analysis with spotting tactical combinations and calculating just a little bit deeper. But look at that 2,000 plus level. That is where creativity becomes incredibly valuable all over again. Because at the master level, everyone calculates almost perfectly. So it's those original plans and deep strategic ideas that finally break the deadlock. Section 5. The Grandmaster Formula, a 3-step process. How do the absolute best players in the world balance this roadmap in real time? Well, they actually run this exact 3-step cognitive loop in their heads on every single turn. It perfectly marries artistry with cold, hard logic. First up, step 1, they let their creativity loose to generate ideas. They ask themselves, could I sacrifice here? Is there a sneaky tactical trick? Then, boom, step 2, they instantly switch off the artist and turn on the computer to check the mechanics. They analyze, okay, if I sacrifice, what exactly happens? Can my opponent defend this? Am I missing some hidden response? And only after both sides of the brain have done their job do they move to step 3 and actually make the decision. Because the truth is, you simply cannot survive at the elite level with just one of these traits. Lacking creativity, that makes you blind to the win. You'll literally stare at a winning position and just play a safe, boring move, completely missing the brilliant opportunity right in front of your face. But on the flip side, lacking analysis makes you reckless. You'll play ideas that look absolutely beautiful in your head, but they are fundamentally unsound and easily refuted by a strong opponent. So if you take away just one concept from this entire explainer today, please let it be this perfect synergy. Creativity is the brainstorm. It throws 3 or 4 fascinating, unusual, or super aggressive candidate moves onto the table. But it's analysis that sits down at that table, ruthlessly tests every single one of those candidates against reality, and chooses the one that will actually secure the victory. To reach the highest levels of chess artistry, you have to be creative enough to find the wild ideas and analytical enough to prove to the world that they actually work. So whether it's on the chessboard or even in your own career, ask yourself this provocative question today. Are you throwing creative ideas at the wall without doing the rigorous calculation to see if they hold up? Or are you crunching numbers so safely that you're missing the brilliant, game-changing sacrifices right in front of you? Mastery isn't about choosing between logic and artistry. It's about knowing exactly when to use which. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.
Please like, subscribe and share to chess lovers for more such chess content.